Don't step away from you to fulfill what other people want to hear, because you're not a jukebox. You're a creative human being.
Moi j'en ai marre, je vous l'ai déjà dit. Y a pas que moi, y a surtout les esprits. Jusqu'à la mort, c'est ça la vie. We from the old school. Don't let them rope you. You running things, stay in your lane, wishing to smoke you. Grenadier à la zone. Ça qui mourit, ça fait aïe.
How did I get married? Good question. So I've been married now for about what? 3 years, 4 years. I'm really bad at those things, but it don't matter.
How you don't know?
Listen. I'm telling the story, not you. So about 3-4 years ago, my husband proposed to me, and I said yes. So now I'm married.
Congratulations.
But how I said yes, thank you very much, seems to be weird for some people and interesting for others. Um, I am the type of person, I have, emotional detachment with like a lot of things. I know my husband should not be one of those things, but unfortunately for him, he is. And he is the complete opposite of me. He is the romantic type, the type that's like telling you exactly how he feels and why he feels that way and the whole nine yard. And I'm like a brick. I'm like, okay, good for you. Thank you. You know. So after dating for about 8 months, 9 months, we were talking, and I'm the type that love asking questions and expect specific answers. So he had a surprise for me on how to propose, but because of my nosiness, I kind of forced him to propose right away. Which he did. He had letters, that he had written for me. Yes,
That's
yes, I know.
beautiful.
I know. I'm not gonna read those letters, so don't even think about it. Yes, I still have them. Um,
Yeah, you're being all emotional, but
okay. Okay. He wrote letters, letting me know, like, if it was so horny, but I loved it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the letter started by, "Dear girlfriend, if you're reading this letter, that means I've decided to be your husband, or I've chosen you to be my wife," something like that. And then I was like, okay, so he proposed, with a heart-shaped ring, which, if anybody knows me, they know I'm not the type to wear something like this, okay? So he proposed, and I was like, "Oh my God, thank you. I didn't know you felt that way." And then I was like, but I need to think about this. Like, this is serious. It's not a rejection, but I don't know how long it's gonna take me, but I need to think about this. And I did. And he did not have any problem with it. He was just like, "Okay, just let me know when you're ready, and um whatever your issues are or your questions are, you can ask me." And I did do that. Like, I took 2 weeks to tell him yes, but in the middle of the 2 weeks, I was asking him questions and he was answering like, "I'm not gonna be that type of wife," and he was like, "That's fine," and I'm like, "I would want to do something with my life before kids," and he was like, "I will never pressure you." Like, he was confirming everything that I wanted answers for before I said I do, and he did all that. And at the end of it, I was like, "Okay, well, I don't see why not." But I am not the type to walk down the aisle. Like, I've never been the type to dream about walking down the aisle, wearing a white dress, and all that type of stuff. And he asked me, what I wanted, if I wanted a big wedding. And I said no. So he was like, "Well, whatever you want to do, we can go to a honeymoon after, just let me know." And what I decided was to go to a courthouse without asking for the day off work. So we went early, like 7 in the morning, got married by 8, and he drove me to work. that was like the most romantic day I've ever had. You
My
Oh,
God.
he, he and then I got to work and my coworkers were like, "Hold up, didn't you just got married?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
yeah,
"What are you
sure.
doing at work?" "I'm working." Like, what do you think people do at work? And then later on, I went and switched my ring because I did not like the heart. And, now I have the ring that I like. And I had one band, and I'm like, this type of hand requires two bands. So, so
Okay.
on our was it our second anniversary? He got me my second band. So yeah, ta-da! That was like the most romantic
Yeah,
stories you
yeah,
guys ever heard.
yeah. Mm. So I need like a switchboard or something. I need you know, like clapping and
Like the who's and the ahs.
oh, that's drums, no?
No, she
Yes.
did not. No.
No, so guys, for like the first time in like let me see,
Wow.
9 months, 10 months.
Wait, what's happening
No,
the first time?
yeah, I got laid, guys.
Wait, what? Okay.
What?
Okay.
What?
I am pissed because I cannot ask all the dirty details that I want on air. Like, you knew what you were doing.
Bam, bam, bam.
Ah,
Yes, guys.
Congratulations.
lovely.
Thank you so much.
Um,
So like I took your little like advice, Cass, about
question?
like huh?
Oh, no, no, no. Go ahead. I heard my name and I like the sound of my
Yeah,
name.
like I took your little
Hey.
we know. Um I took your little advice about like the dating sites and stuff and just kind of like quantity in terms of like swiping and just spend time on there. Apparently, I guess that works.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah, come through Tinder.
oh my God.
Yeah, it was so
This is
great.
amazing.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so like there was like this so I started to this like girl on there and then there's like this black femme party that they organize in like the next city over and it's like 30 minutes away and yeah like we went together there was like dancing
Mm-hmm.
alcohol there was like a stripper there like it was a great party
Perfect
guys
Wow.
combination for
Set the
sex.
mood, baby. Set the
it was
mood.
a great party but
Mm-hmm.
yeah so
Okay.
yeah, so I mean, it's just been so interesting though to be like in the dating pool again after a while. It's like this has just been like a lot of things. So like I learned like a few things last like doing this a little bit more seriously. So I'm like not a person who like thinks like super in the moment or whatever. So like we like got to her car, like we, of course, saying goodbye,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mhm.
we do. And
You know
so
what? How to do this.
yeah, and so like I get in my car because she was like, she kept asking me like, "Are you okay to drive?"
Ooh. Take
Like
the hint,
and I'm
Nas.
like
Take the
completely
hint.
oblivious.
Jesus.
No, like I needed somebody. So it wasn't like until I got in my car and I'm like, "Yo, girl, like take the freaking hint." So I like texted her and I was like, "Oh,
So dumb. She's asking
I know."
something.
So I texted her
Oh,
when I got in my car. I was like, "I just realized, like, you know how like tipsy I was as soon as I got in the
Oh
car."
my God. I love how you played it that way,
Like,
though.
were you like offering me to like stay, like, could just kind of like take a
Mhm.
moment and just chill a little
Mhm.
bit before I drive off? I was like,
Mhm.
mhm.
yeah, like no, come through.
Yeah, of course.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
she
yeah.
said, I live with my partner, but he's over visiting his other partner.
Okay.
Um, so you can,
Oh. And wait,
yeah.
so,
And that's the thing I wanted to talk about in the like dating pool these days. Apparently, a lot of people are like non-monogamous.
Hmm.
well,
Is that something
you know
like
what?
you guys would do?
You know,
I would, but
Oh,
I think
we're
it
gonna take
depends
that
on
in
the
turn. All right, go
Right?
ahead.
I'm like, you would. Let's go.
situation. Well, here's the thing. I think different people uh have, like, they invite different type of relationship, you know? There you can meet somebody that makes you feel like I don't need anything else from anybody else. You know what I mean? And sometimes you can meet people that makes you feel like, this is fun. Like, I want to have fun with multiple people. And then also, just because you don't really need anything from anybody else doesn't mean you can't have an adventure. You know what I mean? I think as long as it is done in a respectable manner and both parties are very honest about what they're looking for instead of trapping people into things or not being upfront about it. um if I'm in a situation where I feel like, okay, like this could be cool, but as a long term, like, no. But if it's like a, hey, let's have like a year of experiencing something new, yeah, probably.
Yeah. See, for me, like I say I would do it too, but for some like slightly different reasons. For everything that you've said, but so for me it's kind of more like I think of commitment of like as something kind of different than like I'm never gonna have sex with anybody else, for the rest of my life,
I mean, that's what it is. And well, commitment could be what are you committing
Yeah,
to?
like so for me,
It could be
like commitment means like I am with you and I'm like with you for like the rest of my life if I
ever.
can, say something like that. And I'm not going anywhere. I think that's what commitment is. But like if you like so for me, that's kind of like the ultimate for me. I mean, just generally, I just feel like if the world is like just so big, I just don't think we're just like I just don't think we're meant to be like with just one person like for the rest of our lives. This is why I don't think of like marriages whatever. Anyway, I would do it because
Nah, you gotta finish that sentence. You can't be like, I think
But like for me, this is why I don't want to get married. I guess we're going like all the way
all
like past
in,
like
all
all of
in,
the
all
points
in.
that we made before we started. But yeah, so for me, the reason why I don't really kind of believe in marriage is not that I don't believe in love. It's more that I don't think it's realistic to ask someone in their 20s or 30s or whatever, whenever, um to promise me that you're just never going to change and want like something else or like someone else. Like you're asking people to project like super far in the future, like for the rest of their lives. You're telling them until we fucking die. Like
We'll die together.
I'm like, that's violent. I just don't think it's realistic to ask somebody to do that, or to tell somebody that. So that's my kind of like top
Like,
reason.
he better project into like the afterlife too.
I would say, Brett, like, yo, like she like, this is a menace. Like, God,
No.
whew, love. But yeah, so for me, like, I just think it's just beautiful to just say, like, I could literally be with anybody because you're not like tying me down. Like, I think like so many people think of like relationships in marriage as a way to kind of like own that person. Like, this is my person now. Like nobody, I licked it. It's mine. Like I called it.
Good luck.
Like like for me, like I don't really feel it like that. And I think the ultimate way of showing that is just letting them like having rules, of course, in communication, like Kat says, but I don't think it's I mean, of course, everybody has to be open to it. Like the worst thing possible is like someone just doing it just to be with that person. Like, oh, like I don't really want to do it, but like that's the only way I could be with that person, so I'm just gonna do it. Terrible, terrible.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah, that
has to want it.
never
Yeah,
ends
yeah,
well.
yeah, that sucks.
Mm-mm.
So that's kind of how I feel about it. But you were saying that you're like, nah, fam, I'm good.
Nah, I can't. No, okay, I'll tell you what. I'm very like selfish when it comes to that. Like I don't mind.
Mhm.
I feel like I would get along with multiple guys better. Like I want it to be
But
on my side only, right? Because listen though. I feel like I have different sides of me, right?
Mhm.
So I can be with my husband and I'm like, yeah, with this, with that. But when a different guy, I like different type of conversation and get stimulated in different ways, right?
Oh,
But I
you
do
like
not
different
want to
positions.
bring.
That's what you said.
I do not want to bring any other females near me because females are catty and they love. Oh my god, I can't believe you did that. Oh my god, like I do not want to deal
I
with
think
that.
that's
Or
not
maybe they
fair.
just want to fuck you, but
Yeah,
sure.
that's not fair.
Like no,
Like,
like
if she's trying to get into your bedroom, she's probably
The
trying to
female
fuck you,
part
not
is
him.
going to
listen.
want to have you off. Like, I don't think that's fair to say that female are catty. Like, men are catty.
No,
Like,
to
y'all
me,
don't.
listen, I'm
Oh no.
not arguing for you. I'm arguing my case, how I would like to picture that future. Like, yeah, I'm laying in my bed, and this man came in and bring me breakfast, and the second man come in and be like, "You want me to read you a book?" And then the third one comes in
Why
and be
is
like,
she imagining polyamorous relationships to be like?
"Exactly." That's where my imagination takes me.
None of those people exist. It's gonna be the same niggas. Like,
But that's how I want it. You don't tell me. You don't tell me how to want my relationship, okay? This is how I want it to be. I do not want to deal with other
mm,
females like, I do not. I want to deal with other men. You know what I'm
What if the
saying?
other females like you and not him?
What?
Would that make a difference? The other females that we're talking about, what if they're your females and not his females? Would that make a
Again,
difference?
that would make a difference because I'll be
yeah,
like,
I think that's just very straight.
yeah. Not only that, but
Yeah.
What?
you don't know, I might be like, hey, but my point, my
I don't know. You are correct,
listen,
ma'am.
my
I don't know what that sound was, but sure.
that's my version of being a lesbian. Like, hello, Shawty, what it do?
Apparently, it's like a motorcycle. Like,
I don't understand what that word was,
I be like, what
but
it do?
I
You
think
know,
I don't want to know.
uh,
I can't.
yeah. But I think also, I guess some people just
Mm-mm.
couldn't see, like, in terms of, like, let's say, like, you just want to talk about, hey, like, are we really kind of heading towards this place in society where people are polyamorous, and just kind of share around or whatever. And it's like, I don't know if that would be possible, because I feel like some people just use relationship as like a sign of like status, or like
They do.
worth, or
They do.
like
No,
happiness. And
no.
it's like that this is mine thing is like, that's very important in how somebody kind of displays their relationship. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
I think we're heading toward the end of that, though.
You think so?
I think I think in society we always have an extreme of one thing, and after a while, like everybody wants to go against the norm because
Mm.
everybody always try like want to be different. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever society is moving in one way, then you're gonna have the group of people moving against the norm. Then you have enough people like in the when I say upper class, I'm saying like the majority of people that's like on the other end, because now that's gonna become the norm, and you might even get to a place where monogamous relationship is frowned upon, or it's
Mm-hmm.
something that's seen as, oh my gosh, you're just not evolved yet, that's why you feel it like
Hmm.
Right.
True.
And that's kind of how I felt like
that.
being on the sites. It's like every other person was either interested in non monogamy, or being non monogamous, or polyamorous. I was happy, but like it was just like
No.
interesting, you know? I was like, I
Mhm.
didn't know that's where we were heading, you know?
I think there was a time in the past probably that we did get to that point a little bit, like in
Yeah.
certain cultures, and then it
Oh
shifts
yeah,
back.
definitely.
Because like people can never make up the mind about what they want. Like we as a species, like whenever we got what we want, we decide the other side is probably better.
And
So
yeah, every time we settled on a thing, we try to really make everybody do it. Like, we're just gonna
Exactly.
flip flop in like the next, 50 years. Can you just let me live now? Like,
No,
because it's
I
like,
think
they
but if
cannot.
people just like individuals decide what they want to do instead of having like just one norm for society. But
right, right. But I don't think humans are ever gonna let that go. People are always going to want to tie themselves. That kind of gets us back to our like community episode, but we don't have to go back there. Um,
And not even that. I feel like humans did that monogamy relationship. Like I was thinking about it. I'm like, I could have said yes, I'll live my life with you forever and never have to get married, right? And I will be fine with
mhm,
that. But I feel like in society, not only do they put so much pressure on what marriage is, but they also
mhm,
like they make other people feel like, oh yeah, you've achieved something. Like, you know how many times I have
mhm,
to get in a conversation with somebody like, oh my god, you married, how's your husband, what does he do? Hello, the person who's wearing the ring is a person, I'm Vanessa,
mhm.
this is what I like to do, you know what I'm saying? They like pass you and go towards what your status is and what does it stand for, and that
Yeah.
means you're a good girl, or that means you're anything, right? That's one aspect of it. The other aspect is material world, right? Everybody's thinking like, think about it. If you have two, three, four wives and you have one house, let's say you end up dying, somebody's gonna want to claim that house for them, like it's theirs because you were with them first or you were with them second. You know what I'm saying? I don't
we're
see
lawyer
us.
people, so get a
I mean,
lawyer.
but like on the other hand of like the same thing that you're saying though, it's kind of like sometimes true. Like you could be like a woman or whatever, and you have like a good like you have good work or like you
Mhm.
have achievements. You're
You a
like
person, like you your own,
you have
yeah.
achievements as a person. Yeah, you're dope, like or whatever. But like all of those achievements, a lot of times people just kind of see them as like just add-ons, like
Yes,
you're
yes.
not complete until you got a man. And
Oh
like all of those
no.
things that you got are just so your man can brag about you.
Oh yes, yes,
And so it's
hmm
always like that's why your auntie always looking at you like, okay, like she getting all them degrees, like, okay, but like can she keep a man though?
Oh my
So
God, yes. And then the moment you get married, they legit gives you a whole different respect. Like
mhm,
I've lived it and it's ridiculous. My brother
mhm,
has never seen me as an adult, right? The moment that I got married to my husband, it's like, oh yeah, you're an adult now. And I'm
mm,
like,
mm, mm.
I've been an adult for a minute now, but thank you. Thank you. And it's like, yeah, you need to start thinking about your future. Okay.
Like I hadn't been thinking about it like just today.
No,
Like I'm gonna
no,
start
no.
like right now.
Now it
I'm on it.
matters because you know what that means, family.
The whole status thing, though, I really feel like, and it's not like I'm shitting on marriage.
Shit on
I
marriage.
think I would. No, I'm not shitting on marriage, but there was never true monogamy to begin with. Marriage was just, your family pay a dowry, and then your husband tie you down to a house, and then you give birth to the children, and you clean the house and make the porridge and shit. But he was never
Mm,
monogamous.
Mhm.
Like, men never really had to deal
mm,
with what they tell women marriage is. And the status of it all, they tell you it's your status, right? Like
true.
they give like the woman like, oh yeah, congratulations, you get married, like somebody picked you, like a man picked you. You should be feeling very proud of that.
Oh
Whereas
yeah, yeah. You
so
must be so lucky.
you should be feeling proud of somebody just picking you to disrespect you every day so that they can, because it's not, those things are not even things that they talk to you about prior. Like they don't have any,
Mm,
they don't have any conversation with you saying, yo, listen, wife, so this marriage is great and all, but how would you feel if I, go down to Suzette's house and get my, what I mean? Like, what do you feel about that? Like, it never
mm,
was an equal thing. It never
mm.
was something that was made for women, but they got they trick women into believing that it's
Right.
for them.
Right.
They should be happy with a ring, and whatever bullshit that comes with it, just take it.
Yeah, yeah. Like that ring equate happiness. It's
Yes.
like, oh yeah, if you have a ring, you must be happy. And it's like, what?
But there's this proximity to power thing that women do a lot, especially like you see that a lot in like white women. And they do this thing where it's better for them to be closer to the power than it is to try to empower others by bending together,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. Like, if you
Mhm.
so for some reason they really think that because they're closer to the power, that means they got they got the better end of it, of something. And a lot of the time it's not even get closer to the power, it's also because now a lot of women are not really interested in getting married, and then they're at home with their husband and they are unhappy as fuck and they're crying every night in the pillows, whatever. And now, how dare this woman now saying that she doesn't want to get married? She might be bullshitting. Like, of course, all women want to get married. Like, I went through this shit, and now you're saying you don't want to? Wait a minute. I had the power all along to say I didn't want to go through this shit. That's bullshit. Now, I am going to shame you for being single because being married, makes me feel like I'm something, even though inside I don't really
Mhm.
feel anything.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's like it means something. And if you like one married person to another one and you don't display like, yeah, my relationship is great, or look at my ring, look at me, they look at you like, aren't you proud of your
Mhm.
husband? Like you're not proud of being married? Like, not even know. Like I'm just this is just what happened. Like I was never the type that picture, oh, I cannot wait to grow up.
When you first date, like people kind of get the concept of like the honeymoon phase or whatever.
Mhm.
But like, do you think when you're married that's something that you have to like get back into? Or is that like
See, for me, I've been the same person that I've been since day one. Like, I don't
yeah.
change how I am. Like, I do believe there is the honeymoon stage. That I don't know why, but I do. I do see the point where you first starting talking to somebody and everything is new and bright and shiny. And oh my God, I wonder if he likes this. Oh my God, she likes that. Oh, I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? But I don't feel like I had to change who I am and show and put my best foot forward just so I can get married. This is just who I am. So I've stayed that way even through my marriage. It doesn't mean that I don't grow as a person, but I feel like I will have grown regardless of being married or not being married. So it's just a matter of what works for you. And I feel like that's the problem with marriage. A lot of people, especially other married women that shame other married women, what they do is that they have that type of standard, like you should do this for your husband, you should do that for your husband, or that means you're not a good wife, or you this. And I'm just like, well, I'm gonna do what I want to do, what works for me, and you can do whatever the hell you want to do. And if that means but I feel like my honeymoon stage never goes away fully, because I'm not gonna lie, my husband does do like little things out of nowhere, and I'll be like, oh, thank you. Like I'll be at home.
ah
But this is the most this is the most that I've used the term my husband.
my husband.
but
All right.
but no, it's true. I'll give it. Where it's like I'll be at home all day, and people would expect like, oh yeah, you have to cook for your husband, you have to clean, you have to do this, but he will leave his job and bring me lunch while I'm at home because he knows sometimes I'll forget to eat because I'll be busy. So it's like people will expect, oh no, you bring your husband lunch because you home and he's at work. He's the important one, and I'm
And
like,
you're supposed to. What the
oh
hell?
yeah, yeah, and I'm like, I don't do that, and they just look at me funny.
Sometimes doing things is nice if it's something that it brings you joy to do this for somebody, versus doing things out of the duty of being a wife. I love food, so typically, like, I just assume that anybody that I'm involved with love
Mhm.
food too. Therefore, if they're telling me, hey, I'm having money problem, would you like some food? Hey, like, my grandma died, I'm like, would you like some food? And food is like the answer to everything. That, that part is not necessarily true, but I do like to give people food, like
Mm.
bring you food, like take you to a place to eat or something, because it makes me happy. And I think my first relationship, I actually used to cook. Like, I used to cook a lot because that was one of the things that made me happy. And it's not like he ever made me feel like I had to, but it started to become like a norm. And I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. Okay. And honestly, like, when I stopped, he never said, why you never cook anymore? And I wish like he had asked, because in the end I did end up telling him, like, I don't cook because you don't cook. But at the end of the day, it's not like I would have eat his food anyway, because he's not a good cook.
But he should have made the effort or even asked, like, how can I help?
That point now where I feel like, the little things that I'm doing, or the effort that I'm making, feels like a one-way thing. It's starting to feel like a duty, even though it was never a duty. It's not like he ever say, you have to cook for me or anything. But he does look forward to me cooking for him, even though he never said it out loud. You know what I mean? Like, when
Yeah.
we're thinking about
The
what we
silent
cook today,
expectations.
he would talk about, oh yeah, like you make the best this and the best that. So basically, if the best this has to be made, I'll be the one to make it, because he doesn't make the best
Mm.
whatever he's talking about. So I mean, as far as like the duty goes, there is a fine line, and I think some people fall into it depending like on the what they enjoy doing for people, and then they end up just getting in the whole train of, this is what you need to do now, because his family knew me, and they started thinking like that was my stuff too, which I don't think they meant it in a disrespectful way. They are very lovely people, but it started to feel that way. Like Thanksgiving, like I'm expected to bring something because I cook very well. Sometimes when you're good at
Mm.
something, it's kind of a curse. So I don't cook anymore. Like 2019, I have probably cooked like 10 times total.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. If that's what works for you, like,
Yes.
just do it.
Yes.
And I don't think people do what works for them. You see how you're able to like walk away and be like, yeah, I don't have to do this because I don't want to, or I don't want to be with you expecting those things from me if I don't want to. But other people are scared to do that. Like they're scared to speak the truth in their relationships. They're scared to walk away from their relationship because they feel like they have to. Like this is what makes me me.
Like, how do you know? How do you know when like you walk away though?
Have you walked away recently, Adasa?
I like that question.
Okay, so like, how did this come become about
Right?
you
I'm
suddenly?
talking more like my husband.
So like before, like when we were like planning this episode, I was like planning to have this conversation about like how do you walk
Hmm.
away, maybe.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like what are the conditions for like a second chance?
A second chance.
I'm like, why are you doing this to me? Like we had a plan.
A second chance. Oh my god. Oh my god. There's no such thing though as a freaking second chance.
See,
What happened?
I don't think a second chance is a thing.
okay.
No.
No. I think people are you especially if you've been like in a long relationship, like it's lasted for a while, you have the hope of
Mhm.
things changing and you're so used to that person you don't know how to let go. Therefore comes the second chance thing in a relationship. I think people don't just have a problem today and decide to just break it off today. I'm not saying everybody, but most people try to play it out, try to do something before they say I'm out of here. So the moment that you said
Yeah.
you are done, you have been through enough. And the only thing that probably brings you back is one, hope, because humans have hope. And second, because you're used to that person even though it's not good for you. and you're like, oh, I'll do like a second chance to get better, but what you're gonna end up having is just the honeymoon phase of reconnection, and then the same bullshit again.
Mm.
um
See, I mean, I understand that up to a point. Like, I think like that's logical, and I think that's applicable in a lot of situations, but I think there's like a few assumptions that like I don't think like that's a pretty broad generalization, because at the end of the day, like why I'm saying that is because the cause of why people break up
Mm-hmm. Can be different.
like
Yeah.
very, like it very greatly, you know
Mm.
what I mean? So it's like people break up for a lot of different reasons, and I do understand that generally, like, this applies. And that's why like I didn't like lead in with a question about, what is a second chance? Should you give people a second chance? I asked like, what are the conditions
Mhm.
for a second chance? Because like for me, like I don't know if I could just say like, because those reasons vary so much, I don't know if it would be wise to just say like, oh, never. Like people never change, and I couldn't say that people never change because I know I have changed, and I have changed in ways that are
Mhm.
you know just life changing. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like that's a little hypocritical. Because I'm like, if I had like, not necessarily that I want to, but if I had like gone back to some situations that I have like regrets about right now, I would do a much better job than I did back then.
Okay. But you hear what you said, right? The key word was regret, right? It's if
Hmm. And that's the question, is like, what are the conditions?
what
If you would get to that point to
okay.
consider it.
I guess for me, answer, I don't have condition for second chance. Like,
Yeah.
there is no second chance. I'm
Yeah.
done.
I
Yeah.
get that. Like I was like you, Cass. Like I'm still 90% like that. I'm not gonna lie. But there's a part of me that's starting to see like the differences in people, and I get where that's is coming from. But it depends on the reasons why you broke up. Like it doesn't even matter. It's not about, oh, it depends on who the person is and all that type of stuff, or if they have changed. Because sometimes the person hurt you so
Mhm.
deep, it doesn't matter how much they've
Mhm.
changed, how much they become a saint. You can't like
Mhm.
you can't fully let go of that hurt to be like, oh yeah, I
Mhm.
trust that person again. Because I feel like once you break my trust, it's really, 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 really hard for you to gain that trust back, right?
Mhm.
So I can forgive you, but I don't think I'll be able to be like, oh yeah, I forgive you. Let's do this again, you know? But if
Mhm.
I broke up with you because you cheated on me, or you were disrespectful to me, or you were very abusive to me, I don't care how much you've changed.
Mhm.
Like you can give everybody your money, I
Right.
will not go back, But
Right.
yeah, but if it was a misunderstanding, because we do childish things sometimes, and I can see how even me, like I've just learned to not say certain things when I'm angry, but some people say certain things when
Mhm.
they're angry in the heat of the moment, or they don't want to deal with the situation because it's too stressful for them, especially if they're going through
Mhm.
other things, and they're like, you know what, it's not worth it. It's not worth me going through that. It doesn't mean you're not worth it, right? It's just not worth me going through this at
Mhm.
the moment, right? So you might end up walking
Mhm.
away, and you might realize I could have dealt with this a whole like different way, right? And if you genuine enough to be like, you know what, I think we should give this another try because this is what I did that was wrong. This is what I did that was wrong. Now, don't expect it to happen, but I can see how you would feel like to
Mhm.
come to me and be like, this is where it went wrong, where it should not have went wrong there, and we can make this work.
Mhm.
And I've seen people give people second chances and it
It's
works,
like
but
people,
also
not
I've
me.
seen people give people, not me. No, I've seen people give, relationship second chances, and it's like, are you kidding
Right.
me? They give it second and a third and a fourth, and it's like, at this point, sis, just take it back. Like, just Just keep him.
And it's not like people don't change. It's just that I think you grow like as a person. I've done a lot of fucked up shit like two people that I've been with. And if I was them, even though I would not do that right now, if I go back to them and ask them for a second chance, they shouldn't give it to me. Um,
Right, right.
because at that
You're
point,
right.
like, like I've grown now, and I can be a better person for someone else because I go back, I reopen that. Like when you're reading a book, even though you part of the book you didn't like or whatever, but you still have like the whole and symbol of the book. You don't just have like just the good part of the good book and just the bad part. It doesn't work like that. So going back to that person's life, I feel like it just opens a chapter that needed to, like, a chapter that was closed, a chapter that that is not all fine. And I don't think you can go back to be 100% relationship when you have certain conditions that were based on mistake. Now misunderstanding is different, because it's not like, oh yeah, you had an argument and you break up. But I'm saying,
Mhm.
when you break up with someone and they did something that would warrant a second chance, I think they should go get a second chance at life somewhere else, like grow and go be better with somebody else. I mean, there's so many people in the world. You don't need to go back to the same person you hurt.
See, like I get that. Like I'm not saying like I don't get that. I just think that's like,
I feel like Odessa have done so many bad things in her life. Odessa, how many people have you hurt?
oh no, I don't even mean it like that.
Mhm.
Like so for me,
Mhm.
I'm just trying to see
Mm.
like because we have like different ways of like you seem to approach time as something like very you seem to approach, I mean, not just time but just life as something very linear, kind of like you just like forward, like you just move forward,
This is where
but
it
for
goes. Yeah.
me, like I see time in life as like you see like our logo and like the little stuff inside. That's how I see life. It's just like wiggly
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
all
The
inside and
interlude.
twisty and like just weird. Like
Mhm.
that's how I see life.
Yeah, and you don't know where it's gonna drop you either.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know, and for me, like I think people are like the hardest thing to understand.
Mm.
And so for me, like I don't think like you're like you can choose to like walk away from a person, but I don't think like you've like the way that you say it, it's kind of like, oh, this person, like you've gone through all of that, like and for me, I'm like, you can never like know someone, like so like for me,
I'm not saying you know someone, and I wasn't talking about people specifically. I'm just saying, like,
like I just think like it's like you like I understand like your point of view. Like what I'm saying is like I understand your point of view, but I think it comes from like a very linear worldview,
Mm.
is what I mean.
I do like I think my view of the world is very linear when it comes to relationship, because I feel like I was about those second chances. And the fact that I'm saying like I don't like second chances doesn't mean I've never given second chances in my life. I have. But
Mhm.
I think people are not like, as complicated as we are, we're not that different. Like I feel like we all are different to the point that we are all the same. And yes,
Right.
I do like the forwardness of things. I just like, if something happens, I just like want to be getting away from it. Someone was like, "Oh my gosh, you so like you like to you always so quick to burn bridges." And I'm like, "Bye." Because I could have been friends for 15 years. And if something happens where I feel like I can forgive you, but there is no point of return for me, like this is something that I am going to remember. I wish you the best.
No, no, I
But
I get that.
No, I mean there's that too. Like I don't mean like we should be like always giving every, and that's why like my question is always still like, because to me, like I'm never like categorically against something. Like there has to be like some sort of like
Good
maybe
luck to you.
formula or logic I can apply to something to be like, okay, so these things like you can't like like this is like just like don't even talk to me, like like you don't exist.
No, I
And
get
then
it.
there's like these things that are just like, okay, I see you trying to do something. Like, what you trying to do? Like, like I think like there's that too. Like for me, I mean, I don't know if it's like kind of like I love stories. And
Oh.
like to me, I think in life, like the very interesting thing for me about life and time and stories is that a lot of times, and I've seen things happen that just like nobody was trying to make them happen, for people to kind of come back together. I feel like you don't know how a story ends until like you're dead. Like your story literally ends.
Yeah.
And so for me, like I used to be that person who's like I cut people off. And for
Yeah.
me to even have this conversation or these questions
Yeah.
is like
Growth.
very like the very proof
Growth.
of like what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Because like for me, like it's like never like you cut,
Bruh.
like you
Who
burn that shit,
are
like
you
that's it.
telling?
Like
Like,
like that's not
yeah,
so like for
yeah.
me it's like so sometimes it's like very interesting to see how like I'm like, dang, I thought this story was done, like
Yes, yes,
written,
yes.
like set, and then you're like, oh,
It
like
can
that's
be a
weird. And for
beautiful
me, for like that
story.
has to happen, right? For me, for that for that to have happened is like crazy. So that's why, like for me, I'm always kind of trying to kind of open up like the way that I think about things.
Mm.
If you can show me like a different way, not saying that I'm like automatically like completely 180 or whatever, but I'm like, oh, so there is another way for things to happen, and like that keeps happening.
Yeah.
To me, and I'm just like very interested about that. That's why I just kind of
See,
wanted to get into
now now you guys want to make
it.
me think about, old relationships.
Now Dasa should answer the question about what are her condition for a second chance. Because I mean, I feel like me and her did like a switcheroo, because before I'll be like, yeah, like
Oh.
people change, but then I'm like, people change, but they're not changing for me, they can change for the next. But
So for me, I think like part of it is like I think age is a factor. Like I think just like generally age is a factor. Like the way that you
No,
think when
please.
you're like 18 is very different than what you think
Yeah.
when you're 23. So that's one. And then two, it's like Nessa touched on that. It's like communication, being able to like be self-aware, like without any prompting. Like I'm not the one telling you, like, hello, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah.
this is what you did, this is what you did, and then you're going after and filling in and say, oh, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, I'm sorry, I'm no, like you're coming in, and even like sometimes like you're telling me shit that
Right.
I didn't know. I'm like, oh, I should have been mad about that. Like, oh, okay. But I think like being self-aware is a condition. I think there's a condition for yourself. I think you should not, like the way that you were saying, like when you say you're done, I think you should get to that point. I think you should not be expecting that person to come back. You should not have like a checklist of like for that person to like fill out. Like you should have like boundaries, like stronger boundaries and conditions if you want to have that. But like you shouldn't be like, oh, like this needs to happen the same way that I fantasized it
Mm.
like happening
I
for
do
like
that. I ain't gonna
ever since
lie.
we've said
I do
I'm
that.
going.
I'm like, I
You
have
know?
certain.
Like
Mm.
you need to like have to be okay with like I'm like this person was like we were together and it's okay we're not together anymore. I'm ready to walk away. Like you should be ready to walk away. You shouldn't be still in that moment where you're like if I'm not with if I'm without that person, if I'm not with that person, I'm not feeling okay, or like you're still
Uh,
missing them like crazy, and you shouldn't still be in that
but if
moment
I'm not missing
if
you,
you're
why
doing
would I
that.
give you a second chance? Like,
I think like if you're not missing that person, but you like that person comes back and you still like, I think
mm.
there's something that you need to
I
fix.
think Adasa though, like when you are
Huh?
making decision to walk away from somebody, you have to know that you miss some, like, because nobody is like all bad. There's just like a level of bad and a level of good, and maybe the level of bad is like too bad for you. So there might be certain things that it's gonna take time for you to just not miss them. But like when you level, like when you back.
But I mean, I feel like it's like, okay, so if you're like in a relationship and you're like, okay, like I understand everything that's going on, but this right now is not it. And you go. I'm not saying like you're leaving because like this person has
Mhm.
this dangerous character flaw, or this person like for me it's like there are reasons why you can break up with somebody just because this is not it right now and you're just walking away. It doesn't have to always get to like the last cutting point. Like we're like that's like the last like cherry on top. It doesn't always have to get to that point.
Okay, let's say you're talking to somebody, right? Like you are starting to have like a good time with them, and you're starting to see them in your life like for in a serious way, and then they started to say certain things that that makes you like, I don't think this is gonna work out for me. And then you talk to them about it. You say, hey, so I'm concerned about this. And then the answer from that from that conversation is definitely not something that's going to work for you. It might be a small, might be a good thing, but in the long run it's not going to work. That doesn't mean you automatically hate the person. So you might miss them for the first few days, but at the end of the day you already know that was the best.
I agree. If you already know that, like, ultimately, if like this is not gonna work, you should not. I mean, obviously. But for me, it's like you were asking me like what my conditions were. Like that was the question.
That was the
You know,
question.
like I'm telling you what my conditions are. Like you can't argue my
Yeah.
conditions. First of all, male.
Like, listen, you should have asked that question to my 18-year-old self.
Right.
Like,
First of all, and I got
none.
into it too. Like I'm arguing with her about
Like,
like my own
your own
conditions. Fuck out
conditions,
of here.
right?
Anyway, I was gonna say also like a big thing about my conditions for that is a big thing about it is give it time. Like give
Mm.
it time and don't restrict yourself to like them. Like if you were already dating, like date, like whatever. They're just one of them, one of those people that you're dating, and or not dating or talking to or whatever you're doing. Don't stop your whole life like just so like you can restart that. Like just continue about it. If they're really about it, then your condition should be to like follow them along. Like don't just be like, oh, you're saying all of the things that I wanted you to say for like so long or whatever. And
Yeah.
just be like, oh, like that's how you feel. My problem wasn't that you never said things. My problem was that you didn't keep things. Like, or like whatever the problem was. I'm gonna follow you and watch you, and then that's it. If you are open to that, if you're already down to the conditions, that's how
Mm.
I feel.
Mm.
But these were my reasons. You cut me off with all that. Yeah, like these
No.
were my conditions
I,
for a second chance.
you should
But
go
yeah.
back and tell that to my 18-year-old self. Like, I'm thinking in my head right now to other
I should go back and
relationships.
tell that to my 18-year-old self. Look at me
Listen.
teaching me.
No, listen. I broke up with somebody over the dumbest thing because they weren't getting enough attention. Well, they broke up with me. And I was like, are you sure that's what you want to do? Yes. Okay, we're
Are you
done.
sure that's what you
I
want to do?
ask you, if you tell me yes, we're done. I don't care. I'm not looking back. I'm not feeling nothing. I'm good. 2 hours later, like teenage love, bruh. 2 hours later, the person call me and be like, oh, I made a mistake. No, honey. You already made your decision. Like, we're done. That was
No backseas.
that was so hilarious looking back at it. Like, I'm like, I was a savage. Like, I was,
And I'd be doing the thing like you like literally dropped off the earth. Like you don't exist.
no.
When I say you don't
2 hours,
exist, I
bruh.
mean you
2
literally don't
hours.
exist.
That was a
That's
record.
crazy.
2 hours later.
I don't know. I still don't think I've learned how to break
Yeah.
up though. Like in theory, in my head, I know how it should go, but in real life, I never really like. Especially when I was younger, like I didn't really think like relationship for me was just like, oh, fun, like you meet someone, you talk on the phone all the time, you go for ice cream, you write some forms and stuff, and then like you write some little poem about how you never
What?
felt that way
Never
before for
did
the fifth
those.
time.
Never did those. I was not a teenager.
Romance. I never made it past like
Cash
the
was writing
honeymoon
all that
stage.
shit.
Like we
Bruh.
would have
She was feeling.
the moment we have like the first fight. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm breaking up with you, but not today though. In my head, I'm like, I'm gonna break up with you in a week. So in a week time, I wait for you to post some shit, and then I'm like, wow, can't believe you did this. Now we have to break up.
Yo, I
And
can't.
in their head, it's their fault. I mean, it's not like I can go back now and say, I was an
That's it.
asshole.
So you be setting them up. You setting them up. That's not good.
But, I think I'm better at communicating now. I don't just wait for people to do something and then get mad that they didn't do
Good
it.
for you and the person. Like,
Bunch of
How could you not have read my mind?
But,
I had a bad day and you didn't even send me flowers. I know it's but you
did
couldn't
you
just send me
ask
flowers
for
just
flowers? Like, expectations,
Yeah.
bruh. Like, what? No. No.
they should know better. They should start
Oh my
reading minds.
Yeah, but I mean, relationships are just this unnecessary. I mean, it's so funny because I just used to hate those things, but yeah, apparently it's like,
Oh, you have an open heart
man,
now.
shut up.
I mean, it makes sense.
Talk to us.
Huh?
Yeah, tell us how you
Mhm.
feel.
They're just like this kind of
Mm.
like necessary evil type of thing.
Ooh, why you gotta be evil though?
I ain't
Why
evil
gotta be?
because people are evil. Don't do that, you know.
It's love, boo. It's
Whatever.
love. It's unconditional love. Like even if the person come 10 years later,
No.
I've always loved you.
So, well, what do you guys think about that though? Like, what about conditional versus unconditional love?
Tuh, you're asking the wrong person. There's no such thing for me as unconditional love. Like all my love have conditions. I am not gonna lie. It's like my love has a why. I always ask myself why. If it does not have a why, if it's like, oh, that's just how I feel. It's just my heart. My heart speaks to me. Like your heart can't say nothing. Like your heart is just pumping blood. Like no, it has to be like, okay, I love you because I love you because you do this. I love you because you do that. I love you because you that type of person.
Wow.
And the moment that changes,
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, I love you because you do this and it benefits me and it benefits yourself. And the moment it's like, you don't do those things, it's like, is there a reason why? I'm gonna give you a little time because you might have a bad day. Okay.
A bad day.
A bad day. Like the moment you start switching on me, my love is like, hello, hello.
That's hilarious.
Do you still love this person? Like I have to ask myself daily, like, do you still love this person? Why?
Yeah, you should.
I mean, that's a
Do you
good thing
still love?
to
I
ask
agree with
yourself,
that one.
making sure you are in the present.
Right. It's always. I mean,
That's
I'm always asking myself, "Are you sure? Are you sure that's that? Are you sure that's that? Do you think
Yeah,
it's that? Maybe
but
it's that instead. Do you think it's that?
yeah,
For
but are you
things that
sure
I
because of
know,
your
though, like for
heart?
things that I know.
Sure,
You
on
know.
my mind. There's never a doubt in between before I change my mind. It's like I'm sure now, and then I change my mind.
Dang.
Oh no! Like I
Yikes.
think about things all the time, and I'm always like looking, like trying to falsify it.
Actually, true or not, I'm just deciding that it's not true,
Oh,
and that's
okay.
it.
Dang.
We got it.
Right then and there. Whoosh. I feel bad. Like
But
I
I'm
love
not
you not today.
a year thinking about it.
No,
But I,
and I mean honestly, like what I mean is that like even like I could like finish thinking about something and I made the decision, but I'm still like kind
Hmm.
of rethinking
Second
it, like just
guessing.
not
Yeah,
second
rethinking
guessing.
it.
I'm just checking again.
to
Like
make
there's a
sure.
difference, yeah. Like there's a difference between second guessing. I'm not like, oh, did I make the wrong decision? No, it's like, is it still true? Like Like,
Right.
what do I think now, and how do I think about this now? Because I'm
Is your
always
True.
changing how I
true,
think.
or is the basis on what you made your decision still
Right,
true?
still true. Right.
That's true.
So I'm doing that constantly about everything.
Yeah.
Which that I use to make the decision stays the same. You know what I mean? It's like I know that somebody who is a good communicator is good for me, and I can make the decision to be around that person based on the fact that they're a
Mm-hmm.
good communicator. But even though I'm not gonna
Yes.
doubt the fact that
Yes.
I'm making the decision that they're a good communicator and it's good for me, I can still doubt, like, wait, what assessment did I use to decide that they are good communicators?
Mhm.
Are they actually good communicator? Like that.
Was it your heart?
Like, am I the one who's like communicating with them, or are they
Exactly.
communicating with
Yeah.
me, or are we communicating with each other?
Whoa, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Hold up. Then I communicate a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
like sometimes you be the one communicating, and as soon as you stop, you're like, it's mad quiet
yo,
over here.
hold up. All right. Somebody's in trouble today.
Oh, boy.
Like,
I'm sorry.
like, I'm gonna do less of the talking today. Let's see what you come up with.
Bah.
And also, you have to
What's
check
up,
it out too. Like,
buddy?
you notice something and you know they bothered and they don't say anything to you, and you give them a day to come say something, and they never did, but they clearly are bothered, and you're like, what's
I've
wrong?
been giving them weeks.
How long do you give them? A
Weeks.
I
day.
mean, the
Bruh,
Months.
for
y'all
weeks
too
you tell
good.
somebody they did something wrong to you. I mean, as
I
soon
need you
as
to
something
talk
is
to me
done
right
to me, I
now.
want to say it right away.
Yep.
But you
Yep.
know,
Right away. Like, I did not appreciate the way that this come about. Now I'm waiting for my apology. If it does not happen today, we will not talk. If it does not happen for a whole week, we will not talk. I'll wait for my apology. Thank you. Thank you.
say
That's it.
something. I always
That's
get
all.
weary of people that
I
don't
just
say
be done in
something
my
when I.
head. I just be like, oh, okay, that's why we do it. Okay, cool. We good
Nah.
then. we
Nah,
good. I
I'm
guess
too
this is how we
petty.
moving, and then we just
I can't do
move.
that. I'm
Yeah.
too petty. In the beginning, I did, but I realized I'm too
I mean,
petty.
now
Like,
I think I become petty. Now I will more readily tell people. Back then, I would
yeah,
just move accordingly. But now
mm-mm.
I'm more kind of ready to say like, excuse
Yeah,
me.
I'm too petty.
But
I
yeah, but
have
I
to say
will do it
something.
only like usually when it's like I have to
Necessary.
continuously deal with you. Like if I don't ever have
Yes,
to like see you again,
I
or
don't have a
like,
choice.
yeah, like if I have to see you all the time, like we work together or we study together, or like you're dating me, like you're my friend or whatever. Yeah. But I'm not gonna like go around and tell people shit. Like if like I'm never gonna see you again. I'm not gonna like take this
I
entire
don't
energy.
care.
Like I don't care.
Yeah,
Like you did
yeah.
this, I'm gonna see you. Like okay, I got you now. But that's it.
Like,
Like
bet. That's my nah, but I be telling my husband in my head, I bet. That's what we're doing. Cool. And he don't even know. He looks so innocent.
if
Like he
he
don't
dies
even
and he's
know.
asleep, I'ma ask for an autopsy.
Hey, they have ways nowadays. They have ways, baby. I
I'm not gonna keep this in.
I don't trust y'all. I don't trust y'all at all.
I just know. I'll be like, that's what we're doing. Watch what I do to you tomorrow.
That's so
But
funny.
what if he doesn't know? Like, you saying that's what we do. What if he's not know?
That's his
Right.
problem. That's his problem.
Right. And that's what I'm like starting to understand. But for a while it was just like I just felt like for me, I just felt like
You have to know.
you
You should
should
know.
know. You just did it. How do you not
Yes.
know? Like you should
Yeah.
know. But for me now, I'm like, okay, yeah, like and now I can totally understand what you mean. But before, I'm like, yeah, you should know. You did this on
Like,
purpose.
when somebody
Because you should have
I
That
known.
thing
ruin
is
his
so
life, and I'm
funny. He
like,
be so
you sat
clueless.
here and let me ruin your life for 3 whole years and you never said anything?
That's not
Huh?
gonna happen.
Oh
That's not
no,
gonna
like when I
happen.
say I act accordingly, I act accordingly. If I need to like just like move away from you, I will do
Yeah.
that. But I don't necessarily feel the need to like explain myself and
No.
have like a debriefing with you
Makes
about
sense.
something that you did, because you should be
Ah,
aware of
yes.
yourself, or at least aware of me. Like what the fuck?
Everything, though. Like, if I don't care for, okay, like, Adessa, if you do something to me, like, more than likely I'll say, Adessa, like, this is some bullshit. Like, you invite me to your house and then you were cooking that chicken and you didn't even like give me one piece
It
and
would be
I
food.
was hungry.
It would be about
Right.
food.
Of
Of
course it is. What
course,
else would it
that's
be
you.
about?
But let's say I don't care for that person and then they just say something that I just don't like. I'm just like, okay, bye. Like, I don't even have to tell you why I don't
Right.
talk to you anymore. I just don't talk to you anymore.
Right. But I
It's
just feel like that's like
level.
communication though. If you care about the person and they did
Mm.
something, like I will tell you. Like I just feel I will be mad that you didn't pick up
I'll
on
tell
it,
you
but
when
I
I
will tell you
cannot hold it
now.
in
Now.
anymore.
Now
No,
though. Now.
I'll tell
Now.
you like,
Oh yeah, no, I hear you on
nah,
that too.
I'll tell you after like 3 days. Like you just gonna act like nothing's happening.
Yeah. No, I will be pissed when I finally
Yes,
tell you. Like
yes.
I
It will
will
be
like
a
you should have
fight. Like how
known.
the
Like
hell?
I'm giving you this time. This time is not for me to cool down.
What?
This time is for you to
3
figure it
whole
out. This
days?
time is for me to stew in my
Bruh,
anger about you not
3 days you
noticing.
did not know you put your foot there and that bothers me. Like you did not know 3 whole days. It's like, wait, what? When did I do that? I don't care. I don't care. You did it. You did it. Now I apologize for it. Thank you.
Yeah. But I mean, ultimately, it's the impact because it's like it doesn't really
Nope.
matter whether you knew or
Doesn't
not.
matter.
Like you did
That's
do
right. That's
it.
right.
So
Now I
Then
apologize.
they did do it, but you can't be mad that they don't know that
Yo, Cass,
they
I'm
did
mad. Like
something.
I'm mad right now, and they didn't even do anything. Like just the thought, just the thought that you might do something pissed me off.
and not know, like I'm already. Coming up next is our new regular segment, Weekly Rent Time. Every week, after our conversation, one of us will rant about something that we just can't let go.
Non, on veut plus de violence. Black on black, zéro tolérance. Black Lives Matter. Je vais quand même te couper la queue. Tu pourras plus faire la file. Tu pourras pas les filer. Mon couteau est trop effilé. Moi j'en ai marre, je vous l'ai déjà dit. Y a pas que moi, y a surtout les esprits. Jusqu'à la mort, c'est ça la vie.
Why are you so angry?
Well, today I'm not angry. I'm more like I'm fuming with
Ooh.
rage. Even though I was laughing
Ooh.
before, I am enraged now.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
I'm angry at parents. I'm angry at parents that raise their children and don't educate them about their social life. They'll send their kids to school to learn math and English, but never about how to be a sociable, like how to be sociable, how to be somebody who is not an asshole to everyone. Yes, I know that like children are gonna end up doing shit and it's not always the parents' fault. But I think it would be great for parents to have at least like a good 10 or 15-minute class where they tell their kids how to fucking behave. Because kids that are shitty kids often can become shitty people, and shitty people become shitty old people. And then all of a sudden, because they're old people, we all care about them and they've never done anything wrong in their lives. And the reason why I'm saying this is I was watching the news and I saw Bush and Helen watching
Mhm.
like a game together, and she was like, "Well, we just have to be nice to everybody, even the ones that actually caused the death of multiple people."
Mhm.
And I feel like Bush was just he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and
Mhm.
he never got to learn how to be a good person, no, or to be like a decent person because he had the money, he had the status, he had the name, and he never had to care about anybody else, and everybody else was just collateral, which is why a lot of people end up being under him. He didn't even care about like his presidency, and like he just let Dick Cheney run everything, and now he's like what, like doing art, and we're supposed to be okay with it because we're supposed to treat everybody the same because now he's just an old man. He's an old man who's responsible for a lot of people dead, and we don't
He's a
really
war
have.
criminal.
we don't have to accept him just because he's old now. I feel like kids can be shitty and adults can be shitty and old people can be shitty too. Like there is no like standard of, oh, I know you're a shitty person, you're horrible, but because you're a kid, I'm gonna let it slide. And I know you used to be like you are a war criminal, but because you're old now and you have like an innocent face, it's okay. Anyway, I shouldn't even talk about his parents because I don't know how they raised him, but it's just really odd to me that people just give children a pass, give old people a pass just because they're children and old people, and don't even think about those people, those children are going to be shitty adults. And those old people used to be shitty adults.
And we got to deal with these shitty adults. I feel you.
We from the old school. Don't let them rope you. You running things, stay in your lane, wishing to smoke you.
Relative à la zone. Ça qui mourit, ça fait aïe.
Thank you, everyone. And don't forget to tune in for our next episode next week on Wednesday.